Elevated Grapes Podcast.
Elevated Grapes Podcast.
With your host, Seth.
And
stylist, Rashi Bindra.
It's time to get started.
Let's talk fashion, shall we? Check. 1, 2. You good, Nev? All right, guys. Welcome to Elevated Grapes. I am your host, Sethi, and my levels are peaking already. You see that? This is why I do these tests.
Okay, that's not how you introduce people. Oh, my levels are peaking. I am stylist Rashi Bindra. First tell people who I am as well.
That's your job.
And then talk about your levels after.
My levels are done.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, the levels are finished.
Can we talk about our guests?
Yeah. So we want
our levels right now. Our level test.
So you're
peaking? Are we peaking? We're peaking.
So this is where you and I we can leave because now they got the show. We don't need us. They're good. They know how to do this.
Danny's like, welcome.
Number
17.
So to introduce the voices you're hearing right now, so we have Victoria and Danny with City Moguls. Thank you guys so much for being on here with us.
That was a very emphasized thank you.
Yeah, because this is huge.
Thanks,
This is awesome for us, and we're so excited to have them that I'm just like, thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting us on here. We're super happy to be here.
That's awesome. So we're going to get into conversation with our friends from City Moguls, explain who they are, what they do, how much they bring to the fashion world and the entrepreneurship world in the city, in Toronto, and some of the stuff they're doing outside of that now. But we're going to get into that slowly. But first, we're going to introduce them properly because we just spent about a minute and a half talking about our levels. So let's get into that. So we have Danny and Victoria. So who wants to go first? I don't know how this dynamic works here yet.
Danny, take the reins.
I've been doing like a full intro.
Yeah, a little bit about yourself. We're gonna talk. Like I have some stuff I want to talk about you guys, but I want you to sort of and then I'll steer it for you.
Sure. Well, my name's Danny Kagan, and I'm a co-founder of City Moguls. And also of Stratus Events Inc., which is our event production company. And I don't really have a fancy intro, you guys. Like that's as.
I thought that was pretty fancy. I liked it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, entrepreneur now for five-ish years. Former Raptors dance pack. Also I'm alumni.
We have a celebrity. We have a celebrity in the building.
Hardly. I wasn't there for the big champ, but
Hey, but listen, the roots of the Raptors.
Exactly. That was the first year they went to the playoffs in a really long time, like probably a couple decades. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, and I also am a dance teacher and choreographer, just on the side, because you can never have too many things to do.
Absolutely, and that is one thing we will touch upon because I know that dance seems to be the common theme here. So, Victoria, why don't you stir that?
Yeah, I always let my better half speak. So
but yeah, I'm Victoria. I am one of the co-founders of City Moguls. I also work with Danny on Stratus Events. We're both the co-founders for that as well. Like Danny, I grew up dancing. That's actually how we meet. We'll get to our story, I'm sure, down the road. I specialized more in ballet and contemporary. So I was on So You Think You Can Dance Canada as a 19-year-old, and that was crazy.
We have some real celebrities on the podcast right now.
But now prefer to stay behind the scenes and produce great and inspiring events for people in Toronto and around the world.
So let's get into that a little bit since we just touched on it. What kind of events do you guys produce, whether it's through, we'll get specific into City Moguls, but through City Moguls or outside of City Moguls? Yeah,
so we've really landed ourselves in the fashion scene in Toronto. We're involved with Toronto Fashion Week, the Canadian Arts and Fashion Awards, CAFA, and we do a lot in the corporate and charity space. So we're really passionate about providing awareness and doing great events for the awesome charities in our community. So that's what we do on the Stratus event side, and I'll let Danny kind of take the reins on City Moguls, our baby.
Yeah. Well, that's really how we started the City Moguls organization, because we loved producing meaningful, inspiring, cool, sexy events that really bring people together in new ways. And so with our event experience from university, which we started in a small little community event at University of Toronto, which we thought was going to be a really small event and ended up blowing up, which was really kind of the roots of City Moguls. We thought, hey, we need to bring this to a bigger scale and start celebrating entrepreneurs in the city in a really different way, and layering on the Canadian fashion and layering on the arts and the dance and the music to really bring this whole event to life and give it some meaning. So that was kind of the beginnings, if you will, of City Moguls.
Mm-hmm.
So within City Moguls, there's 3 founders.
Yes.
Okay, and our third partner's not with us today. So
She's
why don't we have?
She's probably teaching dance right now.
There you
Yes.
go.
Monica
Exactly. Well,
Gold.
someone's got to be working. Right?
Someone has to be
Paying the bills.
Paying the bills. Yeah.
She is probably teaching dance right now, and Monica also, we grew up dancing with her, so there's a lot of mutual connection between all of us. Well, dance is the connection.
She runs a great organization called Find Your Fierce. It's all about fitness empowerment for women. If you live in Toronto or the GTA, you have to check out her classes. They are amazing.
And she goes down to the States too. She's done
she
a couple
does.
classes down in LA and some other, I think she did one, I don't know where she did. I don't want to speak wrongly, but she did another few classes down in the States, and super amazing fitness classes for anyone.
Okay, so when we're supposed to go, hang out, which never happens, we'll go try this, dance class thing.
I'm down for some choreographed lessons.
I would
Yes.
love to get that on.
Oh my God, we should. If you guys go take her class,
That's
we're
gonna
coming
be
to
an
film
event
you.
coverage, and we'll film it.
Well,
Great.
okay, so just as a side note, between the both of us, I'm a terrible dancer. Like when I say terrible, like he would see me sway to music and he would be like, stop, don't move. Just don't. So worst dancer ever.
No
is me.
such thing as bad dancing. It's just, movement of the soul. No such. It's a,
Creative
I don't know
interpretation.
whose soul she's moving through. Somehow, like it'll start here and then it'll end up over there. But then you look there, and by that time she's on the next corner. So.
okay, so
not sure.
well, you'll come for some lessons. There you go.
Yes, and then he will have fun, like recording it and then making more fun of me.
Great.
So yeah,
And you'll
he's
just keep getting
happy.
better. So it's fine. It's a
Absolutely.
win.
We have some awesome
okay.
videos, and we can share them a little bit later.
Please share them.
Oh, dear God.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dear
Nav,
God.
Nav has them.
We'll put them on our City Moguls Instagram.
Oh dear God.
Behind
Okay,
the scenes. Behind the scenes.
That is not how I want to be involved with you guys. I meant more in a let me help in a more productive way.
Yes.
Well, we had a conversation before we started, and the conversation was sometimes you got to let things go the way they go, and that's what's happening here.
Stop talking.
Absolutely.
You guys are so cute together.
Okay, so let's get into the City Moguls concept. So it's fashion, it's entrepreneurship. How do you bring those two together, and what is the premise behind the concept of City Moguls?
Yeah, I think the entrepreneur piece is definitely the biggest factor here.
We've become a hub for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. We're all about celebrating them and creating awareness on the amazing things they're doing in the community. Often they're like the heroes behind all the cool brands and amazing brands we know. So it's an opportunity to feature them and showcase the amazing things they're doing. And the fashion piece, I guess, is like the really like unique thing that we bring in. Back when we were in university, this pre-City Moguls event we did, one of the biggest successes was a runway show that we did, and a bunch of the models didn't show up for the runway show.
No, it was oh yes, you're right. It was the designer didn't show up.
Right, sorry. This
Yes.
was circa
We've all had
8
that
years
before.
ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you have.
Yeah, probably longer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the designer didn't show up. We didn't have any clothes, and we needed to fill a segment. And at this time, we were supporting Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto. And so we had a bunch of really like fun, quirky, cute doctors there that were from the hospital, and a few of our friends and family. We're like, you know what? We're just going to go make them walk the runway and see what happens.
Yeah, we were like, we need to fill this gap. We're event producers. We're not just cutting this show short. Like, let's put something in.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was literally an aha moment for us. We're like, like average people have so much fun walking the runway.
And
Like,
there's a concept in there right there too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. And they were so excited, and it was exciting for the audience to watch people they knew walking the runway.
Absolutely.
mhm.
So that was that light bulb
The
moment.
aha moment for us.
It creates almost like a very personalized experience, even for the people in the audience, because they know probably a lot of these doctors and
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
staff, right?
because with fashion, like it's a beautiful art form. Like as dancers, we're all about like that expression. Everyone has a unique way of expressing themselves, but a standard runway show is very like intense, or like they're often very serious. So like when you come to City Moguls, these entrepreneurs are like living it up on the runway. They're like, some people have gone on with shot glasses on. They're like pointing to their friends and families. Like the energy is just so inspiring. So that's really like been the like big light bulb for us, that like we can celebrate these entrepreneurs, but do it in such a unique and inspiring way by throwing them up
And
there.
we pair all of our entrepreneurs up with Canadian designers. So we have them walk in Canadian brands, which is part of our platform, is to not only highlight the amazing designers we have in the city, but to also showcase them on real people. And that's kind of tying it all back into that moment where we said, it's so nice to see normal kind of people walking the runway who are all shapes and sizes, and showing how accessible Canadian fashion can be and how you can shop locally.
And that's something I noticed when I first heard about you guys, and I think I'd heard about it last year through Edwin, actually. I think
One of our board
Edwin.
members. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I like heard about it, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually very, very cool. And then I was recognizing some of the entrepreneurs that were there, and what's amazing is that they are everyday people in that sense, where it's people that I know. It could be someone like him tomorrow. It's just like very normal people who've done such amazing things, and now we're gonna like celebrate them and say, oh look, dress up, go up there, have fun. And
yeah, it's such a great experience for them. They've never done anything like this. They're busy all the time hustling, trying to get their companies off the ground, trying to grow them, trying to build new projects, start new things. So for them, it's a really exciting opportunity. And the fact that we can provide that platform for them is really special for us.
And scary. Like they get nervous, and you look at them, they're like, you've built like a $50 million company and this makes you nervous. Like we have to do a lot of like prepping and motivating for them, and we like coach them on how to walk the runway.
Isn't it interesting to see when someone steps out of their own element?
Yeah.
Even though they're super confident, they've made a huge success of themselves, and we looked up to some of these people in the limelight that they're in, and be like, holy crap! Like, how did you build that business? How did you do this? And you ask them to do something they're not used to, and they're like in shambles.
It's so funny because all of the moguls are nominated by the public and then selected by a team of our whole team, which is our board members, our committee members, our producers. So it goes through a whole selection process, and then we make asks. And you'll be surprised, there's a lot of people that say, thank you so much, I'm so honored, but I'm too nervous to walk a runway. And it's just, it's so crazy because they've built these amazing companies. They do interviews, they're in the limelight. So we're really grateful for all of the moguls that do participate, because we get to shine a light on them. And not only that, they don't just get to walk the runway, but we also highlight them before the event and interview them. And we have a whole mogul media series that we're starting back up. So we get to interview them and kind of shine a bit more of a spotlight on them. So, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what defines a mogul. What is a mogul from the way you guys look at it?
I feel like we're redefining what mogul means, because I think it has a bit of a negative connotation in the dictionary definition
In the
of
word
it.
itself?
Yeah, I think mogul gets associated with power, whereas I think we're defining it to mean someone who is a leader, an innovator, a change maker.
Like they're disrupting the industry. They're doing things differently. That's like making an impact.
but that's also a form of power. So
For sure.
why I don't see that as a negative thing, because we're also currently in a generation and in a culture where we are training ourselves to accept our own power. So really, if you're building, these like $50 million businesses, and you're out there and you're doing such amazing things, again, people can always abuse everything that's given to them. I'm not saying they can't, but on a high level, I think it's really cool to be like, hey, I'm a mogul, I have power, but it's on a positive way because at the end of the day, you are being a leader. Like you said, you are, mentoring people. You are providing opportunities by bringing people into your vision, into your company, into your baby and growing, right? And
100%.
that's how you guys also got to where you are today. Is y'all started City Moguls that led, from my understanding, for y'all to start your event production company
100%,
as well. And that's your baby, and all the people that you now bring into it, they have to share your vision. And I also think that makes you guys moguls because it's your power, essentially.
Stop.
Right?
That was awesome.
No, you know what?
So well done.
Full circle.
So fantastic.
Are you done?
I don't usually
You guys
credit
must
Rashi for
you
anything.
must run a podcast together or something.
We might.
Yeah.
We might. We should do that.
You guys should
We should
try
run a
this.
podcast together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, something to think about.
There you go. Elevated grapes.
That's a good
but
name.
it's really,
I like that.
I like
it's
it.
really true, and I think we are trying to give that positive spin on the word because these people are so. And on top of the fact that they're building amazing companies, and by the way, not all of them are building $50 million companies.
Right.
We can't just honor the people that are successful
Have
in
the biggest revenue. Like that's
Yeah.
not
There's
the
success is measured differently,
Exactly.
and depending on the vertical that you're in too. There's a corporate word
Exactly.
for you, vertical.
He's so excited about that. He said, I got to use my corporate training now.
Yeah, that's right.
It is. It's success is different to different people.
For sure.
So what's some of the types of things you guys have seen that you consider to be success outside of obviously just revenue in a big company?
we are really big, especially because we partner with local charities and stuff. We're really big on picking moguls that are doing something to give back.
Yes.
And that could be like they run their own social enterprise. They're doing something where they're making profit but also giving back. Or maybe they're just volunteering in their community. Like a lot of our moguls, especially this year, actually have like their own charities or are running their own charity
Foundations.
events.
Yeah, we have a lot of our moguls this year are doing. They're all philanthropic. Like 100% of them are philanthropic, which is so. We want to make that less rare, if that makes sense. We want to. The whole point. Another point of City Moguls. There's so many like layers to this event and this organization, but another layer of it is that we're trying to inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs and just professionals, generally speaking, to make time to give back. And we're doing that through the work of the moguls. So if we can kind of capture these moguls who are making time to give back, we can encourage other people to do
Like
the same.
the busiest people on the planet, if they can make time to like do something in their communities, like how can you do that in your everyday, or like
Absolutely.
If
these busy folks can find time, and we all say we're busy,
So can you,
I can find time as well.
President?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Can we
you go.
focus on the people that are here? So
turns into a deep therapy
I know.
session. How about you?
yeah, it's exactly what just happened. I felt like I should be lying down on a couch.
Dear God, please don't.
So there's a nomination process. So how do people get nominated?
Yeah, so the public, anyone can nominate a mogul, and it's based off of certain criteria. They've had to have their business for a certain amount of time. They have to have the charitable philanthropic aspect. They have to be a leader, a change maker in their industry. They have to be doing something innovative. So it kind of goes through this laundry list of criteria, and we've received over 300 nominations this
Holy
year.
crap.
So narrowing that down to 20 was one of the hardest
That
jobs
is so difficult
ever.
because so many amazing people.
Oh my God! I'm
lot of
telling
long
you,
hours.
it's very hard
can
because it's and we get moguls across all industries: tech, finance, art, film, fashion. So we try and get a really diverse group of people.
And,
So the process is so hard.
Yeah, and like the industries are important too, but we also recognize that like people are at different phases of their entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
Some of the people we featured are like at the peak.
Yes.
We throw in that peak word again.
There you go. Nice corporate word.
At the peak of their journey, they're like last year we had Michelle Romano.
Yes.
You guys probably know her
Yeah.
on Dragon's Den. But then we also pick people who are like, we see that fire. We see that like potential of they're going to explode like next year. But, aren't quite like there yet, but are doing amazing things.
So is it? Do you guys almost have like the mature person who's been there and has the status, and then do you have like almost like a startup series that are coming next? Like, is that do you segregate it or do you just put it all together?
That's a really great idea. We should do.
that down.
I don't have my pen and
Elevated
paper.
grapes
I
to
have
the
to
rescue.
I have to listen to this podcast back and remember that. But that's a great idea. We should actually have like a more senior kind of runway show and then feature up and comers. They're currently all mixed together right now.
Right.
But
Which is
a
also
great
nice because
idea.
you're not differentiating the two. You're not creating a divide between like everyone's on the same
Exactly.
platform because they're doing something great within their
You nailed
world.
it. You just fucking nailed it.
Yes.
I
You
love
just
the
nailed
fact
it.
that she sweared right now. You're my favorite.
Yeah,
You,
I
love
love
it.
it.
But you nailed it because that's it. They all can be, and also it's a great networking opportunity for the moguls themselves to meet other entrepreneurs, see if they can collaborate. A lot of our mogul alumni, we now have 60,
80 after this.
80
year.
after this
Oh, wow.
year.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the
so,
60.
sorry, this has been since 2016.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fairly new.
That's what I was
Yeah.
looking at, and I'm like, holy crap! And there's 80 moguls, and it's like
Why
what,
do you
2
say
years?
crap? Just say fuck like a normal person. Oh, shit. Like,
He likes
come
the
on.
Someone might be
crap.
listening,
Yeah.
okay?
Crap is perfect.
crap. I haven't used
I'm-
that word in a really long time.
Yeah.
Now she'll use it.
I'm gonna
Watch
use it.
tomorrow. She's gonna be in a meeting. She's like, holy crap!
Okay, we teach
They'll think
kids
of you.
dance, both of us, on the side, so we have to put the filters on when we're
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
the studio.
Oh,
I
yeah.
deal with a kid all day long. So
There you go.
so sorry. So going
Yeah,
going
sorry,
back to,
sorry.
yes.
Where were we? I don't even know what we were saying.
We were talking about keeping both the
Yes,
the entrepreneurs together so they can network.
Yeah, it's great networking opportunity for them. It's great to showcase people who, again, are at all different parts of their careers, who are all like on the same path to what we consider a success, which is, not just financially, but it's really nice to see all this group of people. And every year, like the moguls keep exceeding our expectations. The companies this year are just absolutely insane, and we're really excited to showcase them. And it's just nice to see this mix of people, because I think there's a lot of platforms out there that are recognizing, like, top 30 under 30 or top 40 under 40, and they're all really at the height of their careers. And it's just really nice to see people like that, and also up and comers at the same event to get honored and celebrated in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think,
No, go ahead.
okay, well, thank you.
You guys are cute. You guys are like married
Holy
couple.
crap!
Holy crap.
Holy shit. So going back to my point, which I was trying to make before his crap came along.
My crap is
It's
very-
okay. We're like a married couple too.
My crap is
We've
very-
been we've been married for 10 years.
We have been married for 10
We're
years.
We've not been married for that long, thank God.
I'm not married.
Yeah, oh shit, yeah, because that'll start
Holy
up
crap.
a whole different can of worms.
We also are a secret dating service here at City Moguls.
Yeah,
It's called elevated grapes.
we've had someone, okay, so we did an event probably in like, I don't know, 2012 or something, and 2 designers met at our event, and 2 years later at one of our fashion shows, he proposed to her.
Oh, that's actually really sweet.
Yeah.
How good does that feel?
Oh my God, it was the most
best.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was like a basket case crying, but it was so nice because we're like, one of our events made that happen. So yeah, it's a secret networking
A little
event.
secret dating society in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now it's public. Now everybody knows.
Yeah.
You never know who you may meet at these events. That's
That's
the way I
true.
look
And
at
that's
it.
the other thing. I think one of the things we're really passionate about is face-to-face events, like meeting
Yeah.
people face-to-face, because we're so consumed by digital, and that thing, that's a phone, and that thing, that's a computer.
It's a computer, yeah.
It's really nice to go out and meet new people in an authentic way, because it's first of all, it's really hard to get out now.
Yep.
It's really hard to get out.
It's really hard to leave your Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
It's hard. I get it. We totally get it. But
Yeah.
if you can take time and go to a couple events, the connections you make, like, we're all about networking. Like,
Same
I
here.
haven't had to properly interview for a job or apply for a job. It's all been through networking.
Yeah.
And a lot of our clients we've gotten through networking. So I feel
You
like
gotta just get out there.
just
And-
going out to the events.
And you know what, like, to your point, and this has been a bit off topic, but like you said, we're so consumed with our phones and laptops, and it does become very difficult to meet people. And then I find that when you're actually meeting someone face to face, you do become socially awkward, because you're like, okay, I'm not typing the conversation, I'm actually having to
You can't
talk.
curate it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to see their facial expressions and kind of like get into that.
I think we're have to like a lot of people in our
relearn,
generation have to unlearn like those
Bad habits.
Yeah.
And it's you know what? It's like technology is an amazing tool. But it is hard. You know, Danny and I, and I'm sure you as well, being in events, we have to go to events all the time and meet new people. And, you know, it's never easy to go up and talk to people.
I struggle with it a lot.
Yeah. And
I go, Victoria, can you say hi? I'll continue the conversation, but can you just go up and say hi?
I'm the intro gal always.
She's my intro gal.
But I think one of the things that we really crafted and carefully thought about when we were like planning out City Moguls, and we do more events now than just the runway show. We do smaller events like our speaker series, Talk the Walk. We really wanted to break that barrier of like approaching someone and having a conversation. And you can agree with me or not, but I think bringing in the entertainment value and the inspirational, like good vibes at like our runway show and our events where people are like, wow, this is so inspiring. I think it really breaks a lot of barriers of being able to talk to people because you feel so motivated to like do something when you see those entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, and like, yes, you do get motivated, but I still feel a lot of us end up running back to our apps because now you also have
100%.
apps that it's not just dating apps, which by the way, I actually do not use. I hate using. I've tried it once and I was like, why am I going to swipe to find a person? Like, let me go meet. And if you cannot handle a conversation with me, like, bye-bye. Like, I'm not going to waste my time, right?
It's hard. I just miss the dating apps, and I feel for people. It's really hard.
I don't understand how people use it. Like, oh, we swiped over here and we met this person. I'm like, you met a person through your thumb, like swiping up and down?
I think it's a person thing. Like, I think
just don't
some people are
understand that.
good at that, and they'll spend an hour and they'll actually find someone, and some people just will never have patience for it and need to go out and meet people.
But again, it goes back to the conversation about we're at a point where we're so consumed because even you have networking apps now. You have
Bumble has a business
thing
part.
And I logged off Bumble, I think, or I just dropped that app off my phone or like whatever.
The business one's actually really good.
I was gonna say it. The
Not
Bumble.
that I'm plugging Bumble because we would love to have them at our events, but their business app is actually really good.
I saw their app. I saw their business app and their friendship app and all of those
Yeah,
things.
friendship app.
Yeah, they have the friendship thing too in it.
Yeah.
And I was like looking at it, and at some point I think I even asked you, how do I use this app? Because he's a pro at it, so there you go.
Oh, yeah. He's like, what? No, I'm not.
Okay, sure. And but I've realized like I end up meeting amazing people when I go to an event. Usually I go by myself to events, so I'm forced to have a conversation with someone.
Out of curiosity, because I'm just curious, putting it on you, how many people do you feel like you have when you go to an event genuine good conversations with, like on average?
Sorry, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hold on that question and come back to that question because we got to take a break right now. Hey guys, we're taking a quick break just to remind you where you can find our podcast online.
You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Tunes.
Apple Music, but you know it, you call it Apple Tunes.
Whatever.
Right. You can also find us on TuneIn, on Google Play, and of course Instagram when we do it the first Tuesday of every month.
And Facebook here and there.
Here and there.
Here and there.
So thanks for tuning in, and now back to our podcast.
Commercial.
Nice.
We drop
Sponsored by?
Sponsored by. Yeah, sponsored by Bumble.
So that break was sponsored by Bumble.
We are actually trying to get Bumble as a sponsor, so that was awesome. I was like,
Yeah. So Bumble, if you are listening, please contact the ladies at City Mogul.
Yes, and I'm not saying that your app is not good. It's just for my partner. It's just not for me.
it's not for me.
There's nothing wrong with the app.
Hey.
Your app is fantastic.
I actually have never really had to use Bumble, so.
Oh, let's talk about that.
If you had to measure success by Bumble, then I'm very successful.
That just gave a lot away, people. So ladies, get on Bumble and find him and swipe whatever the swiping technique is.
Are we still live right now?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay, great.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
That was so fast.
Yeah, this is stuff that we throw out all the time.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was like the quickest
So
commercial break
the question was to Rashi, and the question
Yes.
was, when you are at events, how many meaningful conversations do you typically
on
have?
average.
On average.
It's a great question.
That is actually a really, really good question.
We're going to play some Jeopardy music in the background. There you go.
We're also singers.
There you go. Clearly. That was like perfectly in tune, on key. I might actually sample
It's
that
an
and make a remix out
unfortunate
of it.
trait of a dancer is they think they can sing because when you're like choreographing, you have to like feel the music and
And be
all
one
the
with
time
it.
when we teach, we're like singing the songs, and our students are like, "Please don't,
stop.
please stop."
Yeah.
Please stop.
You're ruining the song. I can never listen to it again. You probably get some of those.
Yeah.
So she's still thinking? We
Okay,
give you all
well-
this time.
We can play Jeopardy again.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that depends one on the size of the event
Yeah.
because when they're bigger events, I sometimes hit up good 5 to 6 conversations. I get the business cards. I still ask for a physical business card because
Same here.
I like for me, yes, I can put my phone number on your cell phone. That's cool, but you're probably having like 1,000 drinks right now. Are you going to message me tomorrow?
Or remember me. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh, and
that's
the business card, I have to say, is huge.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I still judge people's business cards.
same here. I am so big on that.
Because
like,
we take them home and then we're like, oh, I remember this person, and we had a conversation about their business card.
Yeah.
Like it's such a big
One of my
piece.
biggest tips lately, just because like we're in a growth phase and it's just hard to keep all the details, is I like have a pen with me, and like when I have a moment to like think about the conversation, like while I'm still at the event and the conversation I've had with a person is fresh, I'll like make a note of like what I want to like remind them about. So like, oh, invite them to City Moguls, or like add them to our newsletter, or ask them how they made $1 million in a year, or like whatever it is. Yeah. So,
and then for smaller events, it's maybe sometimes it's none. Like sometimes I go to the event and I'm like, okay, this was a bust. I did not really meet anyone,
And that happens, and that's okay.
and that's part of what we do. And then sometimes I'll go to a smaller event and I might meet that one person that gives me that aha moment, or like that light bulb, or that changes my life, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so inspired. And then he gets like a novel from me.
yeah.
Because I literally, because he's like my partner, my best friend, and all my like thoughts, ideas go to him. The poor guy gets like novels at random times at night, and I'm like, so I'm thinking this, I met this person, blah, 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 blah. And then he wakes up in the morning, he's like, holy shit.
if you guys can get through those moments, you'll be fine.
Very successful.
We get through them. We do get through them. I think to answer that question, I think it varies based on the type of event. I think it also varies on when you get there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time, if you get there early enough and you're one of the first few people, it's easy to sort of mingle with whoever's around, and sort of that circle of trust that creates when you're at an event. Like you become a part of it, and then you don't have to work hard to continue to talk to people. Whereas if you come in a little bit late, it's like everyone's already in their little bit of circles having their conversations, and sometimes that becomes a little bit more challenging to break into. Not that it can't happen, because it does, but I think your timing and the type of event make a big difference.
But you're like very good at that though. Like you can kind of like slide into any conversation.
So yes and no, and I think there's two different types of people. I'm the type of person where I'm the butterfly. Like I will go talk to a whole bunch of different people, but there'll be very brief, quick conversations. Whereas Rashi's more the kind of person, she can spend time with one or two people and have really meaningful conversations.
That's why you're a good couple, you guys. Partnership.
Partnership.
Look, on air couple.
Yeah.
We're like
On air
work
partners.
wives.
Like we're
work wives.
in like when we're at meetings, we're wives, just like
We're
a different like work wives.
Work
Yeah,
wives.
and that's a thing.
It is.
Totally.
Yeah.
But
Work-
yes,
work-
you need to have that balance. And I think
Absolutely.
also another thing is when you do have a partner or business partner, I find it's like for me, I know you said for you guys, it's you like to go to an event yourself because you, or Rashi, you do because
Sometimes,
Yeah.
it's easier to make conversation. For me, I need someone there to push me because then I meet more people and have more meaningful conversations because I can be left alone once someone's done the introduction, because that's hard for me. But I think you need to know who you're going to an event with, because if you're going,
Exactly.
your partner has to be someone who's going to help you and not hinder you.
Well, see, like,
It's
so
really important.
there are some events that I end up going by myself because one, he's not available. And two, also sometimes it doesn't make sense for him to be there. Like there's no point for you to come. I can go rock it on my own. I kind of don't need you.
Yeah.
For sure.
But then there are some events I'll be like, could you please, clear your schedule.
I
Please
need you
come.
there.
Totally.
Yeah.
I never tell him I need you there. Like, let's not
I need you there, baby.
let's not push it, but But I think what he brings to the table.
She's told me she's needed me there many times.
Oh,
Holy crap, man! No.
Have it out.
There's a crap.
Fuck, what's wrong with you? You give people the wrong impression. So
Business-wise.
yes, that's absolutely.
Business-wise.
But then there are times I tell him come because the way he can introduce, the way he can open up that conversation and charm people, especially women. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yo, can you talk to her?
It's a skill.
It is a skill.
It's a skill. And
Women don't like me that much, but they like him. So I'm like, go, do
Oh,
it.
start the convo.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to find their Sethi, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to find their Sethi.
Oh my God. Everyone needs to find their Sethi. That's my new tagline.
Is that going to be the title of this?
That might be the new
I
tagline.
think you should change it.
Everyone needs to find
Elevated
their
grapes.
Sethi.
Everybody needs to find their own. Oh, what was it?
Sethi.
Their own Sethi. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
There you
Well,
go.
they do because it's really it. And that's the other thing. I think people are nervous to go to some of these events because there's an element of, I think, being like shut down.
Yep.
And
Yes, it's the rejection.
yeah, it's almost it is a
fives.
little bit like
Air high
that.
fives.
High fives.
Air
There
high
you go.
fives.
Because it is a little bit like that, especially if you go alone and you feel like, oh, I can't talk to anyone or this isn't a scene for me. So we really try and do that. We try and do that with our events because we know how hard it is ourselves to go and, feel like it's difficult to meet people. So we try and make it as warm and welcoming and positive as possible.
So let's touch a little bit on the whole rejection aspect, even now as entrepreneurs, because
The nose.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to have rejection in
Like
your
the nose
personal
on the
life.
face?
Head and shoulders.
You are a child. So yes, we do have rejection in our personal lives, whether it's family, whether it's friends sometimes, whether it's our dating lives, right? And that's very difficult as entrepreneurs anyways, but now when you're in the professional field, handling that rejection and yet being able to go on and
Totally.
and produce a kick-ass event. How does that work for you guys?
I feel like it's a mix of rejection that happens and also just general like fuck ups.
Yeah.
Like we've made so many fuck ups throughout our career and it's handling both of those things because they're kind of just the same feeling, like rejection and fucking up. You feel stupid in both aspects. I literally had a meltdown. This was 2 weeks ago at my desk here at Watershed, courtesy of Watershed. This is an amazing, amazing place if you need a co-working
absolutely
space.
is.
Right near City
Yeah.
Hall.
Yeah, send us the link. We'll put the in the
we'll
description.
put
For
it
sure,
down.
for sure. Amazing place to work, but I did have a little meltdown at my desk because we fucked up on something and I just felt kind of like, wow, we're running this amazing business. And I had a moment where I was like that day, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And it was just that moment. And the next day I was obviously like on this track where we were so upbeat because we got so many things done and so many great things happened. And it was such a high day in comparison to the day before. But that day when I was low, it's really tough. And I think that you have to have good people around you.
Yeah.
Like my work wife.
Like your work wife?
Because you can't do, I just don't think you can do anything alone. You need to have a community.
A team.
You need to have a team and a community.
Yeah, and I totally see that. Like, and I'll get a little personal here. This entire year has been extremely difficult, and challenging for me on so many levels. But I also believe that is part of entrepreneurship, and that's part of taking risks and doing what we're doing. I've had my share of meltdowns very recently as well. Over the summer too, I sat.
We can do
under
that
a tree.
together. We can do that together
Okay,
next time.
so my meltdown happened under a tree. I sat under a tree and I was just like,
Well, at least you were
what
in
the
nature.
fuck is going on with my life?
At least it was in like a beautiful
you were in
place. You weren't at your
nature.
desk in public.
Well, people were just staring at me because I'm just sitting there, and then at some point it started raining, so I'm under the tree, drenched.
Oh yeah, that's pathetic fallacy at its greatest. And it's hard because you're alone. And
You're alone, and-
yeah, you need to you just need to cry it out sometimes.
And sometimes yes, I do agree that you need a team and you need a partner, and you cannot do everything on your own. But there will be moments when you fuck up. I always say you own up to that. And
Oh, yeah, I
and
took full ownership of
you
what
have
happened,
To.
yeah.
You have to own up to that, and then you move on from it. But in that space, when you're having that meltdown or that realization that, holy shit, I fucked up bad. Now what's next for me? Or should I, like, you also come into that darkness a little bit where it's like, holy fuck, like,
What am I doing?
what am I doing with my life? Or like, I'm at this age or this stage in my life, like, where's my life going? And then you start comparing yourself, and then that downward spiral starts.
It's scary.
And it's very, very scary. It's very hard, I think, to come out of that downward spiral sometimes.
And there's so much pressure. I feel
So
like
much pressure.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel that there's more pressure today than there has ever been on especially young people, and I say that like in a broad sense, because whatever you define as young, but on young people to figure their stuff out ASAP.
Yeah.
Figure out your career path. Do everything now. There's no time. Do it all now.
You need to be
'cause
successful.
You need to be successful now.
Yeah.
And we're so on the wavelength of it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
That's like literally what we look at each other deep in our eyes and say to each other every single day.
That's so romantic.
We are so romantic.
because it's hard, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you have a vision and it seems like it's so close and like you can see it, but like good things take a long time to build.
And that's the thing, man. We are in that generation, like you said, that pressure is there because of that instant gratification, instant set of results. And I think, and I've mentioned this before, people sometimes lose sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But when you're going through that darkness phase or that whole phase as an entrepreneur, that holy fuck, like what's going on? And you start comparing yourself with people and all of those things, or you may have an idea, and because again, that's the power of like manifestation a little bit, is like you have an idea, but you go on your social media and somebody else is doing exactly what you thought of. That again, that's another form of rejection that hits you, and you're like, fuck, what do I do? And yes, you may have a partner, but sometimes you have to go through that phase alone. I think when my pathetic under the tree drowning fucked up phase was happening, I think you were traveling or you had like some conference that like he was unavailable. It wasn't I could, call my mom or like my sister or my best friend or talk to. I was literally handling the entire thing by myself, and I literally didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to shut down everything that I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to
do you make time for yourself every day?
I've started to. So one of my lifestyle changes after my whole meltdown experience was this is what triggers me, this is what bothers me, whether it's from people, whether it's from my expectations and standards. Now, I cannot change them. I have no intentions of changing them, but I'm going to make sure I go to bed or I sleep, or I have my morning routine now where I have that 1 hour. It's with my coffee, with a book that I'm reading. And I made time to read every day, no matter what is happening. Like I need to do that because that gives me peace. And I started meditating, and I kind of love it. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm like fucking awesome.
Good for you.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think
actually amazing.
I think one of the biggest things that we've learned over the last 10 years, especially working for other people, we had a lot of jobs where we were like assistants to executives and worked those 12, 14 hours days even before we started our entrepreneurial journey. And the biggest issue with the entrepreneurial hustle is the burnout.
Yeah.
And finding that like the reason those moments happen where you like break down and like things seem so hard and you're overwhelmed is because you're at your capacity. And
you're always go, go, go. And then as entrepreneurs, we are led to believe, and until recently, we are led to believe that we have to, not take time for ourselves, but we have to do everything. We cannot say no right away, especially like when you're building and you're hustling and you're going to this, and you start stretching yourself thin and thin and thin. And then when you want to get other people involved, involved in your business or your vision, you go through that trial and error of the right person, the wrong person, being screwed over, you know what I mean? Like making losses, and then all those things start piling up. And then, when you're doing an event such as yours, or even some of the events I've done, right before that or at some point the meltdown happens, or something just triggers you and you're like you just lose it for a while. But I find depending on what triggers you to bring you to that point, that also becomes your turning point in everything that you're doing.
Totally.
Whether it's your outlet
It's all
of life or
learning
what.
moments at
It's
the end
all
of the
learning
day. When
moments.
you're in it and you're sitting under that tree
That tree.
and you're literally like, fuck my life. It ends up in that moment, it's horrible, but it ends up being such a good learning piece. And I think if you just make all of those failures, taking it full circle, all of those failures and all of those fuck ups to say, this was a learning moment and I'm going to learn from it, move on and fix it for future. That's what makes a good entrepreneur. That's what makes someone build a successful business. And that's what kind of makes people resilient, because if you sit in it and sulk in it, which it's really easy to do because we're all human, and I do too. I sat on that fuck up for a full 24 hours and then really great things happened the next day, and we made a plan. We said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to solve that F up, and we're moving on from it. And that's it.
And we're never going to, this is how we're never going to make that mistake again.
And you put it in a box and you bury it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And that's the thing, right? Like once you kind of move over that whole fuck up situation or whatever melting down point, like you said, you put it in a box, you bury it, you learn from it, you pick yourself up and you move on. And that not only, I think, talks about what it says about you as an entrepreneur, but I think also what it says about you as your character. And this is a personal thing to me, that it says a lot about your expectations from yourself and from the people around you.
Totally.
And then it comes down to like managing that.
Jinx.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think one thing too, which you were touching on, and it's been a huge thing for me personally, is like professionally, yes, learning and growing, but like personally protecting yourself and keep it, like for me, same thing as you guys, like hey, we're on the same wavelength, is having that hour in the morning for me to try and do yoga for 20 minutes or work out and meditate and read just 1 hour. Like it seems like it's not a lot of time, but it's hard sometimes to find an hour. But like just sticking to that routine and really prioritizing your personal well-being.
Victoria's been killing it. She's been getting up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person, so I am not taking my care of myself in the same way, but she's been killing it. She's been doing it consistently for a few weeks now.
And I find it makes a world of a difference.
It does.
It does. Like I wake up usually an hour early than I plan to officially start my day. Within that hour, I do morning pages. So as soon as I get up, before I even have water, coffee, whatever, I just write out whatever I woke up with. So that's out of my system. I go downstairs, I make my coffee. I bring my coffee back to my bed. That's like the best part about my day. And then I read like a chapter of any book that I'm.
And then you have to get yourself back out of bed again.
Yeah. But then I meditate even for 10 minutes. So after I do my reading, I resolve not to put my feet on the ground until I have done until I have meditated. And I've taken that time for myself. And then I put my feet down. I'm like, yo, man, bitch is here. Let's go.
That is a great tip.
And it changes your life. It changes your entire like perspective on so many things.
That's so great. I told Victoria this today because I'm not a morning person. Like I can stay up as late as the night goes. But I said to her, if we lived in a place where I could wake up with the sun, where it's like not dark at 7, it's still dark at 7:30 a.m., I think I could get on this path. But man, it's so fucking hard.
I'll just buy you some really, really bright lights. How about that?
Yeah, I really want to get woken up to like LED lights in the morning. That's so meditative.
You know those people that have what's it called, seasonal affective disorder? It's a real thing.
You are right.
Special light bulbs that emit vitamin D.
Do you think I could buy that on Wish?
Hello, wish expert. You might want to say that.
Yes, I can. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Will you remind me?
If not Amazon.
Okay.
I'll find it for you and send it to you.
It's a really great idea. Thanks, you guys.
Solution.
Yeah, but Danny, that whole waking up before your actual day. I mean, okay, for us it's 6 or 7 in the morning. Whichever hour you choose to start. Like I say, it's the hour before you choose to start your day. So let's say if your day, like if you normally wake up at 9, for example, this would be you wake up at 8 and you kind of do those things. But that comes to you when you hit that tipping point in your life, and
Totally.
that'll come to you on your own, and then it just becomes part of your routine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not forced ever.
I'm sure it'll be forced once I have kids and they are waking up.
Okay, I'm gonna go away from that topic. This kids
let's
still like
steer
freak me out a
clear.
little bit.
Steer clear.
One day, I'll be forced to
Sure.
wake up at the
That
crack
is
of
something
dawn.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for is
Women.
mompreneurs.
Oh,
like
yeah.
women who have families, and I know a lot of you are out there. It's just I have so
That's
much
actually
respect
amazing. Yeah.
because I don't know how you do it. Because once those little people are in your life, they're like number one.
Yeah, I don't know how. It's really actually amazing. I don't think we give
Enough credit.
mothers who are entrepreneurs enough credit.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
It's insane, and most of them are funding their own businesses. FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just went to this amazing conference and learned about how most female entrepreneurs are funding their own businesses, like not knowing, maybe not having access to get loans, getting declined for bank loans, like funding their businesses themselves. Like it's insane. There's not enough resources out there for women. So kudos to all the mommies, entrepreneurs.
And to their
Entrepreneurs.
partners, and like the fact that you're able to support your wife in what she wants to do, or whichever term that is, and you're there to like take care of the kids if she has to go do something or whatever. That I still also say, you know what, like you have a great partner, because at the end of the day, it is like you said, we can never do anything alone.
It's true.
No matter what, we have to have that partnership, that friendship, that trust, right? So,
Totally.
so yeah.
So
You've been
deep,
very
you guys.
quiet, man. What's
I
going
know.
on?
There's a real conversation going on over here.
We're getting really deep.
You can't
okay,
interrupt the
Safi?
flow. If there's a good flow, you got to let the flow
Yeah, you gotta go
move.
with
You got to
it.
go with it. You got to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
So so Rashi really got personal there.
Yeah.
You look very surprised right now.
No, not at all.
I think it's beautiful.
That's
and
how
I
it works. Because if there's a topic there and there's something that hits home,
yeah.
it's gonna come out naturally.
Well, you know what? We don't talk about the real stuff enough. And like that's one thing, why like Danny and I are so connected is we cut the bullshit a lot. We talk about the hard things, the things that are hard to talk about, and
We have hard conversations a lot, I think, more than we do with our significant others.
yeah, and I think that's what really builds a strong bond when you are building your
doing
team.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is that a lot of people don't see that part of it. They see
Oh,
what's on social media. They see what you're doing when you're at an event. They don't see the hours and the sweat and the blood and the tears and those conversations where it's getting real. And sometimes you're like, do we really want to continue this? Like this is difficult.
Can we pay
know,
rent this month?
I have such
We
a
can do it.
You just gave me such a great idea. I feel like we should take a photo of us the morning of the runway show, and then because we go out and do a speech at the beginning of the night to thank our sponsors and to do a little, just welcome to the event. And we look really dolled up and we look really professional. We got our hair and makeup did. Obviously, we did not wake up like that. So we should show a photo of like what we look like in
3
the
a.m.
morning.
the night before.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
We're,
The
when
before
we're
and after is
finalizing
so
the
key.
seating chart, because
Totally.
like we usually don't sleep the night before.
Yeah, and just like give people a small taste into like what we were talking about.
We have a great idea for you. We can
Okay,
do behind the scenes coverage for you where we go from more like your
Oh my
before and
God.
after
Let's do it.
Yeah.
and cover your event.
Honestly,
Do you wanna see
You
that?
should follow.
Yeah.
You should follow us around during an event
That's what I
because
mean.
I'm down for
I'm
that.
literally doing things like throwing garbage in the dumpster and like carrying 50-pound boxes myself
With your
and-
heels on.
With my heels on.
Or running with heels, as this one's seen me do. Oh, so talking about stuff that happens during events.
God, we're gonna deter people from joining our events team.
No, absolutely not. So in the summer, we did. We did the fashion show segment for Rose Picnic.
Oh, nice.
And it was like really fun, whatever, a lot of fuck ups, like to the point that I told him like, this is fucking insane. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I in this business? Like,
You
I
ask
was
me this
trying.
every time you do an event.
That's also very true.
and then after you're like, that was so much fun.
That's why I always do the after. I'm like, so how do you feel now?
Always think about the after event.
I try,
After event glow.
but okay. So what happens to me now is that, and like you said, there's all that pressure. Even after an event, it takes me a very long time now to say, oh, this was a great event. I still think about the shit that happened that could have been a lot
All the bad
smoother.
things,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that is such a thing where you have to look inward and be like, I'm great, and like that's the thing about moving on, because it's actually so hard to do.
To let go, because
to let go, let go of the mistakes.
if you are not running an event and one thing doesn't go wrong, like you must be like a heavenly person, because you
I
know,
don't know who that person is.
as an event planner producer, your job day of event is to troubleshoot because things will go wrong.
Oh,
it doesn't matter how much you
it doesn't
plan.
matter how much you
Yeah.
plan. It doesn't matter how much you organize. And so, and the funny part is when I'm for one of my events, I work with a partner, and you know, she sometimes gets a bit overwhelmed, and I tell her, like, no matter what happens, there's only so much we can control, because you cannot control people, right? We cannot control human beings at the end of the day. I never take that same advice, and then after the event, I was like, well, this should have done better.
Oh,
Like,
I
my
dish
God,
out
blah, blah.
advice all the time that I do not take.
Exactly. It was like
It's also different when you're in the moment and you're that person versus you being outside and seeing it.
And seeing it from for
100%.
Because
sure.
you can look at it from a different light altogether.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, snap out of it. Come on, let's do this. You got this. And then I don't do that to myself.
But the biggest thing is if you can take that away and learn from it afterwards, and so you can apply it to the next event. It may not be the next event, but it may, or whatever the project is. It may be a couple of projects or events down the line.
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll learn, okay, well, I can't do this same action because it's going to create that result.
Yeah,
And I have to change that.
And the crazy thing is, this is what I always come back to, is like 99% of people that are attending the event have no idea if like that mistake happened, or have no idea, like
That's
they
the
don't
thing.
know. Like it's all you and your team. So like you can't harp on that stuff, because like the overall experience of the people who are coming out to your event or attending, like they had a great time. Like it's something so minuscule. So
Like they didn't know that one piece didn't go the way you had planned it to, but in your head the vision was different. So it's like, well, it sucked because it didn't go as such.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're our own worst critics.
yeah,
so.
and this applies like so much outside of events too. Like people, you know,
In our
anything
personal lives and anything.
you plan, you think you have this like schema. That's my psychology degree coming out.
There it is.
A schema of like how you expect that personal
I'm
situation.
going to Google the word a schema.
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 Are you doing that right now? They're like spelling it out
Yeah,
for you.
I'm going to Google it.
It's
'cause
basically what you expect the scenario or situation to go by, and it doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to. So.
It's that saying, man plans and God laughs.
Yeah.
that's a good
Man
one.
proposes, God disposes type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
you can
same-
plan
same
all
saying,
you
different ways?
want.
Saying,
You can
yeah.
plan all you want.
Yeah.
You can try and plan everything to a T. Something might go wrong. Something probably will go wrong.
Yeah,
So it's about just anticipating.
I think that should be the tagline for my year in 2019. That's exactly the tagline for my year in 2019.
So we're going to take a break on 2019. We're going to come back in 2020. We're taking a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Coming back in January.
Hey guys, we're taking a quick break just to remind you where you can find our podcast online.
You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Tunes,
Apple Music, but you know what you call it, Apple Tunes.
whatever.
Right. You can also find us on TuneIn, on Google Play, and of course Instagram when we do it the first Tuesday of every month.
And Facebook here and there.
Here and there.
Here and there.
So thanks for tuning in, and now back to our podcast. All right, guys, so welcome back. That was a quick sponsorship message by ourselves, these two faces that you're seeing right here. Your
Or
host
hearing.
and hearing, yeah. Rashi and Sagar. So we're gonna do a quick wrap up, and the way I like to do this is get final thoughts from you. I would like to hear your final thoughts on A, what City Moguls means to you, and B, where City Moguls going next, and from each of you individually. I feel like I should put headphones on so one person can't hear the other, just because I would like to
don't
see.
Listen.
Yeah, don't listen.
To me. We are on the same page, though.
I would think so, but it'd be interesting to see.
I hope we are, because if we're not, then we should stop right now.
No, but sometimes.
very much.
Sorry, before you answer that.
Bye.
Before
Bye,
you
buddy.
answer that, and sometimes, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but sometimes you have those difficult conversations. We actually just did a podcast recently, just the two of us, and we touched and we started a topic, and we got stuck on point number one, and the whole hour was talking about point number one because we saw it from different perspectives.
What was point number one? I'm so curious.
Our target market,
Oh, okay. Target
right?
market.
So we were defining it differently in our minds, and then as we went through and figured out how we actually define it in Unity, but it took almost an hour to figure that out. And sometimes that happens is because in your mind you see a perspective or you see the way the way it's going. I was going to say transaction because I'm thinking about work for a second.
Dear God.
In the middle of my
You're still on
soliloquy.
9 to 5.
In the middle of my soliloquy, and sometimes you think about it from a certain perspective, but you may not think the other person is on the same page, or you may think they're on the same page, but they may not be. right? So and it happens, and that's okay in partnerships too, because as long as you have those conversations and you sit down and chat about what's going on. Okay, this is what I think. Well, this is not what I think. Okay, cool. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Victoria, tell me if you're not on the same page with what I say.
Okay.
Because
I'll probably
we'll just
elaborate.
stay here. And
Yeah, that means they're gonna have an all-nighter while we go home and sleep.
Oh, we're gonna have an all-nighter if we're not on the same page. No, we are. I think that City Moguls to me is really is about connecting people, and I go back to how I started my career and the beauty and insanely important skill of networking, because it's about your network, and you can grow it, and it's not something that you need to work on for your entire life. It's something you can do every day, and it's by going to those events and meeting new people and doing fun things like this and talking to new people who are probably listening, hopefully. So I think for me, it's the connection, and it's the meaningful connection, and also just providing a platform for so many people. Like, we're not just providing a platform for these entrepreneurs, we're providing the platform for Canadian designers, and some of our moguls have gone on and become clients of these designers. And we're providing a platform for artists and dancers and musicians, people who want to get their names out there, who are doing incredible things. So I think it's really about both of those things, connection and providing that platform. It's really, it's something that I feel like is, and of course, it's also about the giving back aspect. Like, we're very fortunate that we have the platform to give back and educate people about our charity partners, and this year it's Covenant House Toronto, and we've educated a lot of people on human trafficking and sex trafficking in Canada, and this year we're going to educate a lot more people on mental health. So I think just providing a platform for all of that is so meaningful to me. Like, I feel so fulfilled. Yeah. How does that sound, Vic?
That was that covered all the layers of what is City Moguls. But I think, there's also that like personal why. And, growing up in Canada, we get so many things. North America, we're so blessed. We get food, we get shelter, we get great education. But I think like I was blessed as a young child with taking dance classes, but I later into my journey as a dancer, I didn't have like a lot of dancing is very expensive.
Yes.
As are a lot of sports, and
it's like way more expensive than hockey.
Yeah, I don't even want to go
There's like a
into
bit of
it,
bitterness right there. In your voice.
Well, I
you're
was
passionate
just
about that.
shocked. I was just shocked to hear like how much our parents spent on
crazy.
dance, because you're using your body. Like, what else do you? I don't know. You need to pay the studio. Anyway, I was like, oh, they could have put me in.
Well,
hockey.
as a choreographer, there's a lot of time you guys spent learning that art.
Yes.
And so I think you're paying for more
Totally.
that time that person put into learning that art to
Yeah.
give you that gift.
Totally. But I
We
was
see now.
I was really lucky to at a young age to find my passion, and although it was expensive, someone anonymously supported a lot of my dance career. Like, I got a scholarship to continue my dancing. So that small act of kindness for me, I think, was the seed that planted like, I need to help other people find their purpose.
Right.
And I do believe that like at City Moguls, like, yes, there's a lot of we're getting a lot of entrepreneurs, but I feel like in this world where success is so important and you feel all this pressure to like do all of these things and be successful at everything, a lot of people feel lost, or like they can't really like pinpoint their passion or what they love to do. So I think, coming out to our events and seeing these people who are pursuing their passions and what they love to do can inspire and trigger something in a lot of people. So that really for me is my personal why, because I know what that feels like to have something you love so much. So I hope when people come to our events that maybe haven't found that yet, that this can be an opportunity for them to maybe ignite that spark.
I love that answer.
So yeah, you're celebrating people, their interests. You're celebrating entrepreneurship. You're celebrating Canadian business and Canadian fashion. Like, there's a lot of great things in there, and then you're supporting all these amazing causes through these mediums.
Yeah,
Trying
we-
to.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah, it is really cool.
When you
Thanks.
sit down and think about it, like what you guys are actually doing.
It's amazing that we
It's
can,
incredible.
yeah, and we've built it up in a short amount of time, and there's still so much more we can do with the platform. And to answer your second question, we have so many ideas on where we want to go.
Yeah.
We have a series called Mogul Media that we're relaunching this year, which kind of gives you a bit more raw kind of sight and into the lives of the moguls, the day in the
That's really
life
cool.
of entrepreneurs,
The
kind
good
of
and the bad.
the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing.
Getting raw and real. Like it's not just about the
Not about just the
stuff.
glitz and glam, yeah.
Yeah.
Although that is super fun as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
we all
we're-
love that.
Yeah, we're relaunching that series, so we're really excited about that. So we can share a little bit more about our moguls and all the alumni. We're trying to move to a new market, hopefully this year.
Expanding.
So
Yes.
New city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about where that is, or is that hush hush still?
It will likely be another big Canadian city.
yes.
Okay. That's
There's not a lot of
got it.
options, so you can probably deduce
So
a few.
if
yeah.
you're out there and you're in another Canadian city and you really want us to come there, send us a message.
Yeah, we're on the hunt for amazing event producers, entrepreneurs, potential moguls, people who just want to be part of this amazing organization. So, yeah, we'll hopefully be rolling that out all in 2020/2021. But yeah, we're excited for that. What else do we have coming up? That's pretty much
it.
that.
You got it.
Yeah, like that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Plus,
that's a lot of work.
yeah, yeah. Plus
we're-
all the other things to do. So yeah.
Don't add anything else.
Yeah. She adds stuff on the spot, and you're like, what?
I'm like, I have a great idea.
That
We're-
sounds so familiar.
Happens all the time. All of a sudden, there's a new project that we're starting. It happens.
Always, it's great.
That's part of the entrepreneurship.
It's part
right?
of the fun.
And where do people find you online? I know it's pretty common, but let's just state it so we can state it.
CityMoguls.com on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn.
at City Moguls.
City Moguls.
Yeah,
Quite easy.
pretty
Super
easy.
easy.
And people can also join our newsletter. We don't spam anyone. It's like once a month, maybe twice if we have the time. But we like to jam pack the newsletter with exciting things coming up. Cool entrepreneurs that we're featuring, some of our Mogul alumni,
lot
some
of,
educational pieces.
Yeah, tips, tricks, hacks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys write
entrepreneurship.
that yourself as well?
We write some of the articles,
That's
and
awesome.
in 2020, a lot of our moguls will be writing content as well too. Helpful.
That's a great way to keep them involved.
helpful blogs and more engaging and educational.
Yeah, because people will probably get
Info.
sick of hearing from us. So
You know what?
I know.
Congratulations to you two. That's an amazing accomplishment.
congratulations to you guys. This is really cool, by the way.
If you guys don't know, they started this year. Like, this is amazing.
You guys started Elevated Grapes this year?
In May.
In May.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are we
We're
seeing
at
you?
the
Are we?
beginning ages of our journey?
Are we seeing you November 7th?
We are.
Yes.
Yeah. We also
Are we seeing you November 7th?
Oh, you'll see
Okay.
us.
We'll be everywhere.
We'll be everywhere. But I also want to mention our tickets always get sold out. We will get sold out this year. So
We
yeah.
have to grab our tickets.
We have to grab our tickets, and we have to. If you're listening, grab your tickets.
Absolutely.
Well,
they
they
get
lost.
sold out, and there's some real movers and shakers in that event, so you want to be there.
Yeah, we want to meet you,
We're the
whoever you
biggest
are.
movers and shakers,
Absolutely.
aka on the dance floor. We'll see you there.
I will hide near the bar and just stand there.
It's okay. It's an open bar.
Watch everybody.
Liquid courage. Liquid courage.
AKA on the dance floor. That was amazing. No, yeah. If Rashi has a little bit of wine, she'll be on the dance floor.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
great.
it. She'll be with you guys.
You'll be great.
Oh boy.
We got a great
I'm
wine
not
sponsor,
drinking in
the
November.
Harrison.
I'm doing no anything in November, so
We'll see how that pans out in November at the City Moguls event, November 7th. We'll see you all there. Thank you so much to our friends at City Moguls for allowing us to take this time to speak to you and share your amazing story and
Thank
your
you.
thoughts on so many different things. Thank you guys, and thank you for listening.
wait,
And
where's my last word?
I was just going to say, and before we close, we can never close without Rashi's last word, because that's what always ends our show. So Rashi, please take the mic.
This time, I'm going to say a very nice last word, which is not very judgmental, is that if you fuck up, which you will, please own it, go sit under a tree, bury it in a box, and then move on from your life. And if you know what, people don't understand that you fucked up, fuck them and just go be a badass bitch. There you go. Enjoy.
Amen.
Amen.
Aha.
And on that, we'll talk to you next week.
You got
guys, thank you for watching that podcast or that video. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more of us and see some of our behind the scenes stuff, subscribe below.
Yes, hit that little red, button thingy that's over there and hit subscribe and keep following us for a lot more cool, fun stuff.
Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you soon.